Hello, everybody. I would like to taste and review some bourbon with you today. And we're going back to J. Henry, a interesting, I can't say distillery, bourbon producer up in Dane, Wisconsin, just kind of outside Madison. The reason I can't say distillery is that they don't really have a still. They have a farm. They have grains that they grow on that farm, and then they truck those over to a contract distillery. Last I checked, it was 45th parallel. They may be using others at this point. But anyway, they get someone else to distill it, and then they age it themselves, and they bottle it, and that's their stuff. So it's I've liked their bourbons in the past. They've just come out with a rye, which I haven't tried yet. And I like the idea. It's very kind of Armagnac-esque. The idea that the producer is like the farmer first and foremost, and then it's the distiller is doing something important with the base material, but it's the farmer that is the ultimate source of the brandy or the bourbon as it may be. So appropriately, we're going to start off today with a Armagnac finished version of their bourbon. This is the La Flamme. It's the 2022. And then I already poured these because I started recording this earlier and then I was kind of interrupted. So we're starting again. Then I have a Patton Road Reserve, which is basically their Cask Strength single barrel thing. This is called Mr. Gingerbread Man. And then we got the 2023 anniversary blend, which is extortionately expensive. All of these are more expensive than they used to be. They were never cheap, but like the anniversary is now like $150 or something in Chicago. It's a fair bit of money. But you know what? I've generally enjoyed their stuff in the past, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to like these. All right, let's get into it. Start with the La Flamme because we're just going to go in order of strength. This is 8 months Armagnac finished. Not sure about how long it was aged before then. And 2022 version, 56.75% alcohol. It's a 4-grain bourbon. I can't remember the exact mash bill. I think it's 14% each wheat and rye, and then some mixture of the rest of that is barley and corn. And again, I think they're sourcing the barley, but the corn and everything else is their own crops, which is cool. All right, starting out with the La Flamme. It's very, very peppery and very, very grainy. There's a sense of like I don't know, like a burned oatmeal kind of character here. Burned oatmeal with little bits of like burned frosted shredded wheat thrown in there. My absolute favorite breakfast cereal and the world's best post-workout meal. Don't knock it till you try it. And then we have some like, it's overstewed tea, but it's not sweet tea. It's more like just straight up you overstewed a whole bunch of Lipton's bags. Vanilla, certainly. Dried cherry. I'm looking around for the Armagnac elements on this, and aside from a certain, the peppery thing, just like black peppercorns, I'm not really getting it. It just smells like a really kind of grain-forward bourbon, which is the house style. It's what I really like about them. It's a bourbon that's really, really. It's not shy about oak. Absolutely not, but it's really, really forward in the character of the grain, and I really appreciate that. A little bit of birch beer creeping through. And just straight up like tree bark. Tree bark, maybe a little bit of Fernet Branca in here. Yeah, there's a little bit of mint happening as well. So but in like more of an Amaro context. Absolutely. There's a little bit of almost like a black dried cherry note here, as well as like the regular dried cherry. kind of thing. It's a very kind of punchy, in-your-face, grainy sort of nose on the palate. One more time. Huh. What's giving me pause is most of this I'm really, really enjoying. But on the back end, there's a little bit of like an acrid character. What is that? Almost like you took some newspaper and you soaked it in like the over stewed tea from before. It's a little bit of that, and it just kind of like holds on the palate right in the middle of the finish. It's a little bit irritating. It's not the end of the world, but it's not my favorite element. Let me back up and try to get the rest of this. Because I really like the rest of this. What do we got? We have got burned oatmeal again. Frosted shredded wheat again. Yes, always a plus anytime frosted shredded wheat shows up. We got fresh mint, fresh basil. We have got lots of black pepper. Yeah, lots of overstewed tea. That birch beer. I mean, a lot of stuff coming from that kind of mirrors the nose. Yeah, birch beer. Not really the Fernet thing. Oh, no, wait, there it is. You know what? You know what that acrid character on the end is? It's a little bit of wormwood. So there's like a little gentle nod to Malort in this. But it's not bad. Like, it's just kind of there. You got to be expecting that kind of lingering bitterness going into this. I'm still not a huge fan, but I could actually see certain folks getting into this. Yeah, vanilla, dry cherry, touch of fresh cherry as well. Dried raspberry, a little bit of like a burnt orange peel, like a toasted burned orange peel kind of thing. Subtle, I've used this note before, but Lithuanian Baltic style black bread, so sourdough rye bread made so thick that you basically have to cut it with a lightsaber. There's a little bit of that going on. It's very dark, it's very dense and rye-y, but it also has this kind of fruitiness to it. That's kind of what's going on in here. I don't know, I'm torn on this one. I like most of what's going on, but that kind of like the acrid note, the almost like wormwoody thing coming in on the finish. I'm not sure. I want to see how this behaves with water. I'm not sure. So we're going to give this a couple squirts. 2, 3, at least 4, right? Probably 5. That seems promising. I'm going to give it another half squirt, and we will move on. This is the Patton Road 4-year-old Mr. Gingerbread Man, 59.2% alcohol. In my opinion, these are kind of the ones to chase after, the Patton Road single barrels. They're not cheap. You're paying $80-90 for, a 4 or 5, maybe a 6-year-old whiskey, probably more. But they are good. Okay. What is that? So again, a similar kind of set of characteristics. A lot of graininess, like oatmeal, so burned it's like it's like turned to ash. There's almost no oatmeal left. It's that grungy. Oh, okay. Here we go. Now it's opening up a little bit more. Before that, I can identify what I was getting. Caraway, actually caraway seed, and a little bit of fennel in there. Yep. And now the frosted shredded wheat comes rolling in. A little bit of fresh mint and basil. Sage too. Oh, I love the kind of herbaceous grain forward character of this. There's other distilleries that do this kind of style, but I don't know, something about these guys, they just are able to pull it together really well, and I don't know what it is. There's that kind of black Lithuanian sourdough rye character again, that fruitiness. Yeah, like I'm trying to think of a something comparable to that, because I know that's an obscure tasting note, but yeah, that's the best. I don't know if I can analyze that any further. It's like a dark, dense, but still fruity sourdough rye bread, and it's totally in there. Dried cherry, of course, but also not almost like a Kirschwasser thing, a little bit of like a kind of West Germanic, cherry eau de vie. Really, I'm maybe just straight up smelling cherry pits. Very grungy. I like it. I'm into it. I mean, it's a lot of the same notes as I was getting on the Flamme, maybe, but it just feels cleaner and a little bit more vibrant, particularly in that kind of like rye fruitiness kind of thing. Oh, and Mexican hot chocolate, weirdly enough, like really fun, like cinnamony hot chocolate. Yep. And vanilla, of course. Did I mention vanilla? It's an American spirit. It's gonna have vanilla on the palate. Yeah, it's just a cleaner, better version of the previous glass, if I'm honest. Oh. You're not getting the acrid wormwoody thing on the palate. The palate is still the finish is still very spicy. Black pepper, a little bit of like numbing mala Szechuan peppercorns going on. So do not underestimate like the power. Do not think I'm saying this is like a smoother bourbon than this one, because it isn't. Like, this is intense. This is strong stuff. But it's more coherent. It doesn't have anything I would consider to be an off note. What notes are you getting? Again, kind of the same stuff as the nose. Frosted mini wheats, mint, basil, some sage. That kind of like fruity sourdough rye thing, that's in there. Caraway. I'm not getting fennel on the palate. Overstewed tea, but also like a little lick of like kind of a Darjeeling in there. So Lipton's that you left to brew for way too long, and then maybe you were afraid to taste that, so you made some nice Darjeeling properly on the side. Cherry stuff. Yeah, I don't know what I can add to this. Really, really good mouth presence, though. The arrival is punchy. The mouthfeel is just spicing up my entire mouth. For something that's relatively young, it's got pretty good length on it as well. It's kind of tickling my tonsils a little bit, and it hangs on. And what hangs on is not just the peppercorns and all that stuff. It's that kind of grainy rye fruitiness, which I appreciate. Oh, and Mexican hot chocolate on this as well. Why am I leaving that note for the end? It's a really fun note. All right, let's add some water to this. We'll come back. 2, 3, 4, and we'll try it. I'm going to go 4.5 on this too. Okie doke. And last up, the most expensive J. Henry I've ever seen on the shelf, the Anniversary 2023 blend at 60.9% alcohol. I did try an older Patton Road. That was my previous review. And I thought that was expensive. It wasn't as expensive as this. So it better show what it's got. On the nose. Immediately it's showing a little bit more wood. Yeah, there's a lot of just straight up cooperage elements, a little bit of white oak sawdust flying around. And weirdly enough, there's some Heaven Hill sorts of elements in this. There's that little bit of fall leaves that you drizzle with a little bit of wildflower honey. There's a little bit of that going on. Black pepper, but more subdued. A lot of the same notes, but they're more subdued. So the frosted mini wheats are still there. Not the basil. The mint is still there. It's more peppermint now. Yeah, peppermint. It's little hints of eucalyptus, caraway again. Dried cherry, most definitely. That Lithuanian black bread, black rye, however you want to say it. Just a sense of lots and lots of wood, and I'm okay with that. Maybe that tree bark note I was using earlier, maybe that can come back. Yeah, there is a little bit of a sense of walking into the woods after a rainstorm, and you're just smelling wet wood, but in a nice way, a pleasant way. A more kind of turned down nose than the previous two, but not any less good on the palate. Oh. I'm torn. I'm torn because the wood has definitely added something to this. And I do think traditional, Elijah Craig barrel proof folks would really be more into this. but it's taken something away too. It's taken away some of that raw, grainy fun that I was enjoying, and particularly in the last glass. All right, what are we getting? We are getting cooperage dust, vanilla, toasted brown sugar, overstewed tea, sweet tea, dried cherry, but also dessert cherry, peppermint. Oh, there's a little bit of fennel coming in through now. I don't know what happened to that sentence. There's a little bit of fennel now. So it gives us a little bit of a hippie toothpaste kind of character. Even though it's not a rum. I usually get that noted in rums. Frosted mini wheats. Black Baltic rye bread. Emphasis on the fruitiness, but it's hard for the fruitiness to kind of punch through the raw wood here, but it's there. Yeah. A lot of... I know this is probably controversial to say, but yeah, there is a lot of old Heaven Hilly stuff going on here. There's that, leaves drizzled with honey thing, but also a kind of like, I don't know, like burned twigs, burned leaves, burned kind of foliage kind of stuff going on. So yeah, I'm torn. I do think the mouth presence on this is better than the previous glass. The mouth length is more impressive. This is really starting to get into my lungs a little bit now when I drink it. Mouthfeel isn't... It's more kind of tannic and bitter than it is spicy now, but it's probably a hair bit better there too. And the finish... On the finish, they're probably about the same. This is holding on with, again, more of a bitter character than that kind of fruitiness, which I was enjoying so much on the previous glass. But I don't know. So on points, I do think this anniversary blend is the better bourbon, but I don't think it'd be the one I'd want in my cabinet. Even price no object. So let's add some water to this and come back. 3, 4, let's see if it needs 5. It'll take another half. Ooh, sweetens up a little. That's nice. Okay, and let's go back through these one more time, shall we? The La Flamme. I'm actually surprised how similar these ended up being. Like, you hear Armagnac finish and you expect something that's going to be very, very different, but yeah, not really so much. It smells like a s'more. A s'more you put some Tootsie Rolls in, actually. What even happened with this? I am totally getting like s'mores and like maybe not. Maybe it's not. You haven't put the Tootsie Rolls in like the s'more. You put it in like some burned oatmeal. Yeah, it's like grainy Tootsie Rolls. That being said, a lot of the same stuff is still there. The shredded wheat, the Baltic rye bread. A little bit of coffee grinds coming through now. That overstewed tea thing is definitely still there. But there is more of a desserty chocolate element to this, which is more obvious now. I know it was the next glass where I mentioned the Mexican hot chocolate thing, but it's starting to come through on this too, which I'm okay with. On the palate. So the plus side is that the acrid wormwoody note has mostly lifted. But it's kind of transformed into, I don't know what to say, more of an ashy note on the finish, like a kind of licking of, an Arturo Fuente ashtray. It's better. This is definitely better with water. It just is. It's got more of a chocolatey character. And that kind of awkward note is not as awkward anymore. But that awkward note is still my least favorite part of the palate experience. Yeah, what are we getting on this? I mean, lots of the same notes. Very grainy, which is my thing. Very peppery. I'm trying to think of changes. I mean, and there's a tea note, but it does make me wonder if you could you like brew some tea and then make hot chocolate out of it somehow? That sounds like a pothead idea, but it's something like what this tastes like. Imagine a blend of hot chocolate, Mexican hot chocolate, and like overstewed tea. And that's a lot of what's going on. I like it. It's not my favorite. Score-wise, I don't know. Do I grade it down because of how the palette initially was, or up because of how the palette kind of fixed? I'm going to call this an 85 plus. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But I don't think it's going to be my favorite in this lineup, unless the others fall on their face. Let's move on. All right. Patton Road. It wasn't winning it on points for me into this second round, but this would be the one I would consider buying with my own money. And yeah, it's maintained most of its initial character. It's still got that kind of marriage of like super grainy character, like the oatmeal-y thing, the rye bread thing, the frosted mini wheats thing. With herbaceousness, black pepper, there's some mud coming through now. And a little bit more of an like overt. It's not chocolate. It's more like a. Oh, what am I getting? It's almost like a carob character. Can I use that? Yeah, it smells a little bit like carob. Sure, let's go with that. It almost like a peanut brittle thing. So yeah, kind of a more nutty, desserty thing now, which I'm happy with. All right, on the palate. Yeah, it sweetens up a little bit. With that peanut brittle note I was talking about. I don't think it's better though. Like it really hasn't gained or lost any complexity. It's sort of at that same level. Yep. Very good mouth presence, but not great mouth presence. Very good. Spicy, kind of intense to drink on the palate. If you were rolling deep, this will make a fantastic old-fashioned. I guarantee you that. Oh, what am I going to score this? Feels wrong to give it a plus. But I am still stuck between an 86 and an 87. I'm just going to call it an 86 plus. It's an 86 plus for a different reason than this is an 85 plus. Like this is an 85, 86 plus. This is an 85 plus. The Flamme is an 85 plus because it improves with water. Like no mistaking that. This is an 86 plus because it's sort of halfway in between an 86 and 87. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you know, I'm trying to find the best way I can to communicate what's going on in these glasses, and sometimes I make a mess. All right, on to the anniversary blend. See if this kind of loosened up a little bit with water. And it did. Oh, that's fun. There is now a, like, what is that? I want to say like a cotton candy element to this. No, but that's not right. Something like cotton candy that, what is that? Actually, you know what this is? I will tell you what this is. You know the popsicles you give to kids when in those huge bags, where it's like they have like these weird neon colors, and they're these little narrow bags, and you take them out of the freezer and you cut the top off, and the kids like push the top and they like lick them. But you know, when you were a kid, you would open up like 5 of them at once. That's the smell on this. It's like a whole symphony of different, like, budget, artificial chemical flavor popsicles, plus graininess and pepper. And it's a lot of fun, actually. Yeah, oh, that's okay. This is bringing back so many weird childhood memories. Sorry, I'm gonna get my brain away from that and stay with you. That's the main thing. Is it's a lot of kind of high tone fruitiness comes out. There's some flowers going on now, along with like the weird kind of chemical popsicles, but nice. All right, on the palate. Damn it. I did not want the $150 bottle with more oak on it to be the best thing here, but it's absolutely the best thing here. Yeah, the s'mores thing I was getting in the first glass, the Flamme, is starting to show on this as well. Like it's just bringing like a graham crackery, chocolatey, burned marshmallowy, like desserty character, which I cannot, I cannot resist. That's really good. But it does that. It provides that hedonism while keeping, you know, all the weird stuff. Baltic rye, frosted mini wheats, the caraway stuff, the hippie toothpaste. It's all still in there. It's all still in there. You're enjoying your peppercorns and a little bit of your like mala Szechuan spice. But at the same time, you're just kind of mellowing out, eating a s'more. And I'm really into that. And I hate to be the jerk reviewer who gives all pluses in... can I give this an 88? I can't get there. I can't get to an 88, but I will give this an 87 plus, absolutely. 87 plus for the J. Henry Anniversary Blend. And yeah, I like their stuff. I wish it was a little bit less expensive. But these are absolutely wonderful little bourbons. They're very grain forward. They're very much in the tradition of American whiskey. They're not shy about the oak, but they're doing a different little twist on it, and that's what I like. Keep an eye out for these. You see them at a good price. I think they're worth grabbing. Thanks for watching, and cheers.